When I was a kid in high school, someone decided to add a little flash game called Pico to all the computers in the library. I came across it by accident one day and remember finding it a little weird, edgy, and strangely enjoyable. Later, I learned that the game had come from a website called Newgrounds, which was a hub for creators and composers alike, that made oddities like Pico. Later, when I was a young adult, I came across Castle Crashers on the Xbox Live Arcade. When I learned that the composers were all commissioned from Newgrounds, I just knew that I had to see what the game was all about. A 2D side-scrolling hack and slash created by the Behemoth, Castle Crashers originally released on the Xbox Live Arcade, on the Xbox 360, in 2008. Eventually, the game migrated to other systems from 2010 to 2019, where it also received HD updates. For the purposes of this review, I played the version that appears on Steam in couch co-op mode. The game begins by selecting from 4 coloured knights and then thrusts you straight into the action. I played with my partner, and for this run we chose Blue Knight, me, and Red Knight, my partner. We enter Ye Olde Knight's party where our heroes are rocking out in the basement of the castle. The ale is flowing, the music is bopping, everything is just dandy and as it should be. Suddenly, the door bursts open as a grey knight flops down the stairs like a wet, slippery fish dropped down the hill at the Tsukiji fish markets. He breathes the last breath, probably relieved that he doesn't need to embark on the upcoming adventure, and passes away. Curious about what just happened, all the other knights exit the basement, leaving our heroes, the red and blue knights, to loiter around causing havoc as they figure out just how their bodies function. Finally joining the others above, grateful that the plot hasn't moved on without them, they witness their terrified liege lord cowering against his throne as a midget mage conjures a spell to draw an unnecessarily large rune-inscribed crystal from the throne's head. After the midget flies off on the now levitating crystal, it's up to us to set forth from the kingdom to get it back, slaughtering anything and everything that gets in our path, whilst also questing to rescue 4 princesses who were kidnapped in the ambush. The plot itself isn't detailed or unique, but that's what I liked about it, as along the way it parodies a variety of other media and mediums. Castle Crashers really shines when it's parodying other games. A mixed hybrid of parodied titles, the game runs almost like a comedy of errors. The knight's adventure takes them across the regions of their own kingdom and beyond to foreign nations, through sunless forests, wending rivers, dank caves, impenetrable fortresses, bubbling volcanoes, and even to icy tundra beyond the endless sea. The variety of the environments ensures that there is always something new to look at and experience, where a keen eye will observe various acts of humour that would otherwise be missed by one too focused on the action. For example, in the full moon stage, if you pay attention to the moon, you'll see a reindeer's silhouette propelling itself into space via extreme sloppy flatulence. I shit you not. Equipped with blade and shield, our knights are veterans trained in the art of dismembering anything that breathes oxygen, and even a few things that don't. A simple light swing and a more heavy-handed blow can be played into combos that the knights will receive as they level up, whereas the shield can be raised to prevent projectiles from piercing the more delicate areas of our heroes. Each knight has the potential for magic, which gets stronger the more time they spend studying the arcane practice. Along the journey, a plethora of tools can also be found to assist the knights, such as a bow and arrow, bombs, a shovel, red potions. Wait! Are we playing The Legend of Zelda? And a sandwich that takes the pangs of pain from your induced hunger and manifests it into a version of yourself that has spent way too much time at the gym bulking up in front of mirrors. At the end of some of the levels, our knights will come up against a boss character. After defeating the boss, depending on which one it is, one of 2 things, or both, will happen. The first is opening a chest which will rain cash everywhere that you need to compete to collect, because this is a dog-eat-dog world. The other is some of the bosses have kept a princess hostage. Once you cut her down, all knights that are still alive must exhibit their toxic masculinity and compete with each other to kiss her. This involves a fight to the death, which carries over remaining health from the previous cooperative battle with the boss. If you're a little worse for wear, then chances are you won't be connecting with the moist lips of the princess. As the knights level up, they will unlock new combos and gain skill points. These skill points can be invested into strength, defense, magic, or agility in order to make the knights more proficient in their various skills. Strength makes them hit harder, defense makes them die less frequently, magic allows them to learn newer and more powerful magic skills, and agility makes the bow and arrow shoot faster and harder, like a man edged a little too far. Between the stages, you are dumped onto a world map where you can walk lines between the various areas to explore the world, or revisit previous stages to level up and make the game easier to manage. Littered throughout the world map are locations where you can shop to buy replenishable items, new weapons, and animal orbs. There are also arenas if you feel like smashing each other's teeth in, because who doesn't like beating each other up during a cooperative experience every once in a while? When you first exit the castle stage and head left, you will be greeted by a gigantic frog that has its tongue pinned by a blacksmith's tool. If you dare to venture within its bowels, you'll find your weapons storage. Along the journey, you can find and equip a variety of weapons, some practical and others taking the piss, that will adjust your knight's statistics and sometimes add additional elemental effects. Beside the frog is an ark awaiting the great flood that will purge the world of its sins. Here, all animal orbs that you find are housed. Each knight may take one animal orb with them on their adventure, with each providing a benefit. To identify what each one does, you need to pick up and take it to the blackboard at the entrance. I found this process a little cumbersome and would have preferred a quicker way to discover the uses of each animal orb without having to undertake this process one by one, or by going outside the game to look it up on the internet. Initially, Castle Crashers came with a minigame called All You Can Quaff, which was basically a button masher that saw your knight alternating button presses to eat food faster than your adversaries. Rather boring, really. This is no longer packaged with the game, and instead you have the option to play Back Off Barbarian, in which you must jump around a board game-like area using each of the 4 buttons on your controller to determine direction. You must try to last in the game as long as possible without being stomped on by the enemies that spawn regularly. Although some people probably enjoy that. No judgment. What makes the game difficult is that every time you move, the button input to move again randomizes, so you don't know what the next button press will be. The aim is to last as long as you can, with an achievement being tied to lasting more than 2.5 minutes, which may sound easy, but is not. The art style of Castle Crashers puts it in line with classic Flash games, and I love it, utilising the same broader, simpler artistry which takes inspiration from the goofiness of titles like Pico that I played in my youth. The deadpan stare of all characters whose faces are not covered always does me. The butthole-faced bandits also make me laugh, like, with hoods pulled up into that pucker, how can they even see to shoot straight? The comedy littered throughout the levels, such as the animals shitting themselves upon the approach of the troll, and even the poop rocket deer in the escape level, made me chuckle every time I saw it. I enjoyed the diversity of the levels and the creativity in the magic effects of each character. Even the weapon designs are entertaining. The aesthetic of the game bleeds insouciance, often laughing at itself, and sometimes you, the whole way through. The music of Castle Crashers is extremely varied, which is attributed to the collective work of over 20 artists that were commissioned from Newgrounds, where their music matches the environments that they played in. One minute you can be listening to electric popcorn synth, and the next you'll have bells tolling with brass accompaniment, and wailing women to add a more serious tone to the action. I love the variety in music, although it's often difficult to hear over the constant sound of weapons connecting with flesh, and heads being dismembered from bodies, although this is something that you can adjust in the menu, so I'll give this a pass. My favourite track is called Dark Skies, which is the aforementioned track that is played when breaking into the wedding. The brass really propels you forward and sets the stage for the siege, where your knights destroy the countryside surrounding the castle in an attempt to penetrate it. The synthesized wailing women represent the anguish of civilians being slaughtered in this silly conquest that's all to get back a crystal that probably never belonged to your kingdom in the first place, drawing parallels to some well-known situations in the real world. Wink wink, but I digress. Castle Crashers has been around for many years now, and it is a great 4-player cooperative experience. If by chance you haven't happened to experience it by now, then I would recommend you go out and get it. The gameplay is easy to get into and fluid, and the game has a minimal story requiring little to no investment as you slaughter your way across the globe, all to steal a kiss from a kidnapped princess, and ultimately recover a crystal. Coming in at around 5 hours on a normal playthrough, it's worth putting aside some time on a weekend, or a Friday evening, cracking a beer, smacking enemies, or each other, for a good time. Trust me. By the way, do you have any memories of 4-player cooperative experiences that you'd like to share? Let me know in the comments. This has been Venoir with a review of Castle Crashers for Steam. If you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe for more great couch co-op content. As always, take care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Bye bye for now.